Hi everybody, welcome back to Toadstool Tarot. Third time's the charm, they say. I may have reached a Goldilocks moment in my study of the Thoth Tarot. I'm primarily a Rider-Waite-Smith system reader, but I keep being drawn back to this again and again, trying to decide how to approach reading the Thoth. First, I saw the Thoth Tarot in a walkthrough by Tarot Oracle, where he had trimmed the borders and labels off the cards, which I liked so much more because these cards have keywords on them. I don't do keywords, and I didn't really like the borders. But the artwork really stood out much more with the borders trimmed off. Now, there are a few sizes available of the Thoth, and you need to be careful when you shop for them. If you look on Amazon, where a lot of people shop, they always list the size, the dimensions of the decks, the cards, and it's very important for you to check that out because sometimes the visuals are misleading. Now, I originally got this one that comes in a green box. I think people refer to it as the greenie, but I don't know. That may be a different deck. These didn't have green borders. But this one is a fairly large deck. I'll show you. I did trim them. There actually is one that comes in a blue box. I think the box is larger, but the cards actually are smaller. So you have to be careful about that. But I knew I was going to trim these. That's why I got the larger cards. And this comes with a little white book, of course. And this is a standard tarot size card, and you can see the difference in the size of these actual cards. Now, when I trimmed the borders off, they ended up being a little wider but a little shorter than a tarot card. The only problem with trimming the borders off is that I did it before I really was familiar with the cards, which made them really hard for me to read. A lot of them you can kind of figure out from the images. Others I had trouble with discerning what these cards were. Also, originally I wasn't fond of the back with this crucifix kind of design. Then I saw at Make Playing Cards, somebody had offered one with a similar back design but no cross, and I really love these backs, but these are mini size cards, which I'm not thrilled with. It's a regular size deck, but they're tiny, and they are trimmed. I didn't trim them myself. They came that way, which was nice. That's the main reason I got them, because of the backs and that they were professionally trimmed. But again, I'm not familiar enough with this deck to use it properly. I actually keep them stored in a little plastic soap dish. So, the first deck, too large. The second deck, too small. The third deck, which I just sent for, just right. A Goldilocks moment. I saw these advertised on, um, let me backtrack a little bit. Because I couldn't distinguish what the cards were after the labels, I thought, okay, I need at least a guidebook that has the images in it so I can familiarize myself with the cards. So I started looking online on Amazon, and usually there's a look inside button next to the image where you can see inside a guidebook some of the text or copy of the book. So I was looking for books that actually did have illustrations of the cards inside the book. And I found a couple. And also there are a lot of Thoth guidebooks that I know are very in-depth, very difficult to wade through. There's a lot of symbolism. There's a lot of background to these cards. And I thought, I don't want to get bogged down in text. Can I enjoy these cards without fully embracing all that is involved in them? I'm really not into numerology or astrology or the Kabbalah. I know those all weigh heavily, factor in heavily to the Thoth. Can I still enjoy using them, reading with them, without knowing those things? So I wanted to find an easily accessible guidebook. So I found a couple that looked intriguing to me. Now this one was panned by reviewers on there. It was cheap though. It was like $14. It's listed at like $26.95, but it was listed on Amazon for 14 bucks. It comes in a box. It's a guidebook and the cards for $14. I thought, wow. Also, when I looked at the dimensions of the cards, they were small but not mini. It turns out they're bridge-size cards, which is perfect for me because I love that size. I like them smaller than tarot but bigger than mini. And so I thought, for $14, I'm going to give it a try. But they were panned by a lot of reviewers. They didn't like the cards. They said they're too small, they're too thin. I don't remember what they said about the book. But another thing that swayed me is this particular guidebook. It was written by Evelyn Berger and Johannes Feibig. And they wrote the ultimate guide to the Rider-Waite Tarot that I use in my tarot playdate group on Sundays. We use as a reference, and it dissects all the little symbolic images in each card, and it's really easy to use. So I was familiar with their writing. So I thought, okay, I'm comfortable with their writing. I should be comfortable with this. And it probably is not going to be as in-depth as some of the Thoth books out there, but I thought it'll be an easy way to get my toes wet. So I got this. The box is really nice, actually. It has a kind of a linen finish to it. It's a handsome box. You take the lid off. It's got the book inside, and then underneath the book there is a recess holding the cards, which were in shrink wrap. Of course, I removed the shrink wrap. And they lift out. It's not a great storage thing for the cards because once they're unshrink wrapped, they kind of slide and flop around in there, especially if you take the book out because there's extra space in there. But I really like this card size. Like I said, they're playing card size, bridge card. And they do have white borders. If you're particularly fussy about copyrights, they have a minuscule copyright on the bottom in the white border that if you get your magnifying glass out, you can see. And if that bothers you, you can trim off the white borders. There are white borders on both sides. I'm not going to do that, probably. Not this time. But, and some people complain because of the borders, the images are even smaller and make them harder to see. Well, I've got several sizes of the card now, so this is not going to be an issue for me. And I think these, provided you have the right light and eyewear, are still fully legible. I'm going to leave the labels on these for learning purposes, but I now also have the fully illustrated guidebook. And this guidebook has kind of ivory colored pages with a lot of spreads in the front, a little bit of background history, and fully colored sort of thumbnails on each page, and a full page describing each card, all the symbolic elements in the card. No, I'm sorry, this one doesn't describe the symbols in the card. That's in the second book. This one just gives you a 2 or 3 paragraph interpretation of the card, and then it has little keys to love, happiness, and success interpretations for each card. So it's not like a major endeavor. They even have a little bit of a disclaimer in the back of the book, sort of comments on Aleister Crowley and, you know, that okay, it says, however, it's certain that Aleister Crowley has not only to be charged with peccadillos and profiled as an enfant terrible, but that he has cost some people their mind and the will to live. Any sympathy for the devil stops there. They sort of try to separate. Oh, here, Aleister Crowley's lifestyle can hardly be recommended for emulation, but the cards that he and especially Lady Frieda Harris developed are among the best in the world of tarot. These cards can be used today without any danger. The reason is simple. It's usual in our society to distinguish between the life and the work of an artist. There are countless works of art and some importance that were produced by people who have failed in their lives and or have shaped their lives in a way that cannot be described as absolutely exemplary. If we were to ignore or avoid all of these artworks, we would be much poorer culturally. The right to distinguish between the person and work should not be withheld from Crowley. So it's kind of a little disclaimer, which I don't know if Crowley fans might be upset by that, but people that don't like Crowley, it basically says, you know, try to look past his personal, you know, issues and focus on Lady Frieda Harris's artwork and these cards. So anyway, I got that book. I also wanted something that I thought might be easy to read, but a little more in depth than that. And I found this book, Tarot, Mirror of the Soul, Handbook for the Aleister Crowley Tarot by Gerd Siegler. And this one also has, is illustrated. They're black and white illustrations, but the cards are all there. For each card, you get keywords, you get all the symbols in the card spelled out, and you have separate sections, indications, questions, suggestion, and affirmation for each card. and it's an easy read. I haven't gotten all the way through it yet. I'm only up to the the Emperor at this point, so it's still early on. But so far, so good, easy to read. But I figured if I don't get bogged down in text and I just kind of look at these easy read introductions, and then I find that I really enjoy this and want to go deeper, there are plenty of text out there that do go deeper. But so, like, this is, like I said, a way to get my toes wet and a sort of a Goldilocks moment, you know, not too big, not too small, just right, not not enough text, not too much text, just right. So, as I said, third time is the charm. We shall see. It's still early to say whether I grow to embrace these cards, but I know a lot of people swear by them, and there are several other channel hosts that are either fully into them or are delving into them now. So I join that group in having a closer look at the Thoth Tarot and see whether at some point you might be adventurous enough to dive a little deeper than the RWS. See you next time.